Okay, everyone, welcome to this morning's Bambuddha Boost. My name's Sheppard, and I'm the CEO and founder of Bambuddha Group, a leadership development network that do all kinds of good stuff. So today, we're very lucky to have Carolyn Butler Madden, who is an Amazon bestseller. She's a cause marketing expert and brand expert, and she's got some really, really good tips and advice this morning. Because one of the most challenging things people are struggling with right now is how do we sell in an environment where is it appropriate to be selling? So, you know, right now it's being of value to people and being able to be of service and support people through this challenging time. And I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to disappear and I'm going to hand you over to Carolyn Butler Madden to share some top tips, advice and inspiration this morning. So sit back, relax, grab your cup of tea, and I'll see you in 15.
Thank you, Anna, very much, and good morning, everybody. How's everyone feeling? It's freezing here in Sydney, so I think we've got a few Sydney-siders here, but some over the border in Queensland and some up in New South Wales. So, yeah, hope you're all warm and cozy. So, today I am going to talk about the topic of serve, don't sell, and I want to ask you the question whether you believe you are selling or are you serving your people, your clients at this time. So when Anna asked me, she invited me to do a boost, I thought, you know, what is the most value that I can deliver at this time? And we're all in uncharted waters, and so many people are asking this question: how do we sell our products or services in a market that has changed so dramatically? Thanks for the introduction, Anna. I just wanted to give you a bit of background into me for those who don't know me. My business is The Cause Effect. We're a purpose consultancy, and we help businesses identify their purpose in a way that creates social impact, so social purpose. And we do it in a way that enables them to do well by doing good, to drive profit through purpose, because I believe that the only way to make impact sustainable is by making it profitable. So just as a bit of background, my background is in the marketing world, specifically the agency world. Over 30 years, first 10 years in London, and then 20 years in Sydney, owning my own small agency for 18 years, serving big clients. So clients like Pepsi, Cadbury, Microsoft, Panasonic, just across a wide range of categories, and helping them drive brand switching. And I always loved what I did. This was a career I fell into accidentally, okay? But I fell into something that I loved. I loved the intersection of strategy, creativity, and results, and I got off on it. But there was always a bit of a disconnect for me because I was brought up by my mother, who instilled in my sister and I a really strong sense of social conscience. Oops, oh dear. Hang on, guys, just a moment. I think I am on. Let's see if I can fix this. I am on timer, and I don't want to be on timer. So let me get rid of that. Apologies. So, yeah, brought up with a very strong social conscience, and yet I fell into marketing and the advertising industry, which is a bit of a contradiction, right? So there was always a little bit of a disconnect and always a bit of a feeling like, oh, I don't know if this is quite right, but I loved it. And when I found my purpose, when I found that I could actually use those skills I loved using and do it for something worthwhile, do it to serve positive social impact, it just rocked my world. It changed everything for me, because I felt like, in the theme of today's subject, I felt like I was serving a real need, like a genuine, authentic need, and it changed everything for me. And yeah, I found my path to purpose, and it has been something that has energized me ever since then. So, serve, don't sell. What I'm going to share with you today is inspiration from other businesses and brands who are serving overselling. And I want to share with you a framework to get you thinking about how your business can be in service. So helping you to identify what business you're really in these very strange times. And then we're going to have some time at the end for Q&A. So look, COVID-19, it's been a huge journey, right? And what we're seeing is there are winners in this journey and there are losers in this journey. And I've just listed some of the winners and losers. No doubt there's a lot more. But, you know, supermarkets, staples, home entertainment, tech companies, healthcare, pharmaceutical, tradies apparently are just on fire. The losers, the travel industry, luxury brands hit first, hospitality, any discretionary retail, transport, auto, out-of-home entertainment, gyms, the fitness industry, fashion industry, and the list goes on and on and on. But both winners and losers, and even those in between whose businesses have remained untouched, there's the same underlying message for everybody in these uncertain times, and that is serve, don't sell. So what happens when you can't actually sell your product or service? And this is something that a lot of businesses are in a position of. And I want to say that here, this is where you turn to your brand. Because apart from your people, your brand is your most valuable asset in building relationships. Move that up here. I don't know how many people here know Mark Ritson. He's a marketing professor, very outspoken marketing commentator from the UK, very popular here in Australia as well. And he has a lot to say about marketing during COVID-19. And look, I don't agree with everything that Mark Ritson says, but he has a very interesting perspective. And there was one article he wrote back in March, which I thought was excellent. And he said, the wheels of industry need to keep turning so workers are paid and families are fed. Those wheels are best greased by effective marketing. And he said, great brands build their equity during crises like this. I want to go a step further on this and say that marketers have a great responsibility at this time, not just to keep the wheels turning, but to be more relevant in their actions and their messaging than they have ever been before. And when I say marketers, I mean you know, everybody here is marketing their business today. Everybody who is trying to sell their business or their brand is a marketer, particularly in these times. So it's so important to be relevant in actions and messaging, not just messaging. So COVID-19, as I'm sure you will have all seen, has unleashed a wave of acts of goodness and acts of kindness and acts of thoughtfulness from brands all over the world. So here at the Cause Effect, we have been collecting as many examples as we can, and there are many, and putting them into a database. And last week we managed to get that up into a visual database on our website under resources. And we're adding to that every day, every week, as we come across things. Because what I feel is these brands, these businesses, and they're doing it in all sorts of different ways, but it's inspiration. Like if you go and have a look and see what businesses are doing in lots of different ways, it's wonderful inspiration for us and how we can serve in different ways, maybe not the most obvious ways as well. So yeah, feel free, there's no gateway. If you go to our website, thecauseeffect.com.au, and if you click under resources, you'll see something saying COVID-19, and you'll find lots and lots of examples there. So what many of these brands have in common is they understand what business they're really in, how they can serve today in the environment in which we find ourselves. So I want to take you through a few examples and put them in context. So this one I love. Sea Life Sydney, who are part of Merlin Entertainment, who I believe are a Bambuddha member, which makes it even nicer. But we came across this. Sea Life Sydney, obviously, they're in the entertainment business. Their doors are closed. Nobody can go in and see them. So what they've done is they have created live streams. So you can go in and you can see penguin feeding or shark feeding. You can do all sorts of craft activities. Your kids, I should say, although I think would be fun for some of us adults as well. And they have a series around asking keeper questions, keeper Q&A. So here we've got Ask an Aquarist. So just a beautiful way of making this content free to kids or anyone who's interested at a time when they still want access to that, but they can't get access. So they can't sell their product. They can't sell their service today, but what they can do is build a relationship with people while they're in lockdown or in social isolation. And that's exactly what they're doing. GoPro have launched GoPro. So that's a GoPro challenge, which invites their GoPro community to share different films with different themes. But what they're doing during this period is they've run the Home Pro challenge. So they're asking people to share what creative radness, inventiveness, or weirdness people are getting up to at home. And they're inviting people to film on any device. You don't have to have a GoPro. So you can film on your phone or any other device you have and send it in. So again, this is how they are building their relationships with people and serving and, you know, making people feel something in doing that. This is an example, a lovely example that someone shared with me of a small bakery in Melbourne. So this idea of serving, not selling applies to any business, large, medium, or small. And I love this example. So this bakery, they weren't able to sell their normal bread at this time. I think it was early on when much more people were taking more radical steps in closing down. So for their regulars, they would put in a brown paper bag the starter and the ingredients for people to bake their own bread and a recipe and have it there waiting for them with their regular coffee. And I just thought that was such a beautiful way of giving people something at a time when they were at home and, you know, perhaps had more time on their hands, giving them their product in a different format for free, but in a way that they could engage with them. Isn't it beautiful? Don't you think that's amazing? I love that. And this we came across last week. Boots pharmacies in the UK are providing help for domestic abuse victims. So the number of calls to the National Domestic Abuse Line has, I believe, it's just gone up hugely, and the number of killings apparently has doubled during this time. So it's a massive, massive problem. And Boots, they have partnered with a charity in the UK called Hestia, who provide support services for domestic abuse victims. And they're providing a safe space. So people at risk can go in there, go to the counter, and they will be taken to a private consultation room where they can contact support services in the privacy of that room without fear of being caught out. And yeah, that's what Boots are doing. So there are so many different ways they could have stepped up, but they identified this risk, high risk in the community, and they're serving on that risk. So what business are all of these companies or brands, what business are they really in when you look at this? So here's what I see. Sea Life, Sydney. They're in the business of feeding curious little minds. If you can't go to Sea Life, to SeaWorld, then they'll come to you and bring it to your home, and they'll continue to feed curious little minds at a time when curious little minds are lapping things up because they're bored, and they provide that. So they're serving a real need and making people feel good in the process. GoPro are inspiring people to transcend the everyday of life, which is bang on their purpose. Tivoli Bakery, through what they're doing, they're giving people a sense of comfort, aren't they? Think about that feeling you get when you're given the ingredients and a recipe to bake bread at home. It just gives you a sense of warmth and comfort. And for Boots, they're supporting healthy and safe communities, providing a place of safety for domestic abuse victims to come and get help. So can you see how they've really understood how they can serve by identifying what business they're really in at this time? And it reminded me of that beautiful Maya Angelou quote. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think as business leaders, as brands, we all have that opportunity to make people feel something positive in uncertain times. So it's all about purpose. And we're getting back to the beginning, aren't we, about serving real human needs. So if your product or service serves a genuine human need right now, then don't hesitate to serve and sell, but make sure you're selling by serving. And if it doesn't, then ask yourself some questions. Questions like, what need can we serve? Whose problems today can our business solve? What assets, resources, or skills do we have or can we access that could be of value to someone? How might we be able to improve someone's quality of life? How can we be of service to someone who needs it? So a couple of examples, and we're running short of time, so I'm going to go through these really quickly. Just some other examples. So Louis Vuitton, obviously luxury goods, handbags, cosmetics. Early on in this crisis, they put their production lines of their perfumes and cosmetic brands to use in producing hand sanitizer gels, serving. Grab, a car sharing company in Singapore, introduced a dedicated round-the-clock on-demand service for healthcare professionals to travel to and fro from hospitals. Tinkerbell, a strategy agency here in Sydney. I love this. They actually invited their clients to donate 30 seconds of their TV and radio spots to Lifeline, who obviously mental health is a huge issue, and they need to get their message out there to get people to donate so that they can serve calls and chats coming in. And Tinkerbell got their clients to step up and do that. So very briefly, a framework that I thought would be useful. So I've modified a framework that we use to identify your social purpose, to look at how you can identify how you can serve today. And if you look at what you're good at, your core business, and that's what you do, right? Then you look at what the world needs right now, society's needs, and mind map that. Just get lots and lots of ideas out of what the world needs right now. And the closer it is to what you do, the more relevant. And then how you can serve. Look at what skills, assets, resources you have or you have access to that can help someone who has a need. To give you a quick example, with Louis Vuitton, they're good at perfumes, handbags, designer fashion. They identified very easily what the world needs right now, hand sanitizer. And what assets they have their perfume production lines, which they could repurpose to serve that need. Tinkerbell, the strategy agency, they're good at advertising. What the world needs right now, they identified mental health services support. And what assets they have their clients' media budgets, which they invited to donate. So do you see how that works? And that's it, guys. So I hope that framework is useful to you. I encourage you to just mind map those things out and play with it. I also wanted to invite you to take advantage of some free resources I've got, recordings, webinar recordings, and a free 45-minute strategy session. And that's it. So you can email me if you would like to take advantage of that. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you so much, Carolyn. That was so what people needed right now. And thank you for taking the time to make that as condensed as you could. Carolyn really is the best in industry when it comes to brand positioning, cause marketing, and building a real purpose-led brand. So I would encourage you to get in touch. Look at the awesome resources that have been created. That list of businesses that are doing good stuff, that is juicy. And I'm going to dig straight into that after this. Does anyone have any quick questions before we wrap up today? I think everyone seems pretty happy with that. Any questions at all? Drop them in the chat if you do have anything. I think that's great. Thank you so much for today, Carolyn, and for your time. This video will be online, so don't worry, by the end of the week, you'll be able to watch this again and go through. And tomorrow, we've got, on the brand theme, we've got one of the best brand experts with regards to personal branding in Australia. She's the photographer, the videographer, and the brand expert for all sorts of inspirational speakers, for all sorts of leaders. And she's actually going to give us a little bit of her time tomorrow. Zarina Robertson, she's called, and she's going to help you understand how you can use your iPhone to build your own personal brand very easily and in a really professional way. So remember to tune in for that. Apart from that, I think that's pretty much it for today. So thank you to Carolyn. Thank you for everyone to keep tuning in. Do spread the word far and wide and let everybody know about these boosts, because it's keeping everybody going each morning, including us. So be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. It's important. Lots of love, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Bye, guys. Thank you.